I'm ready. I'm ready when you're ready.
Call the meeting to order. Then did you call roll?
Hankins.
Here.
Triplett. Here. Olfest.
Here.
Bowersox. Here. Sayers.
Here. Item 3, approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve it.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for the July 15th, 2019 Planning and Zoning meeting as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 4, audience, any items not on the agenda? If you have anything at all that you'd like to discuss at this time that's not on the agenda. If not, we'll move to item 5. Approval of the P&Z Commission meeting minutes for June 17th, 2019. Are there any comments or corrections? Chance to read them. If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the June 17th meeting as written.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 6. Consider a motion to recommend council approval of rezoning parcel B, 506 East Broadway from U1 R1. Somebody to speak to that. Any representative here tonight? No.
The Petersons had a conflict, and they hoped that considering it was essentially some housekeeping to clean up what the zoning was to what it should have always been, that you would understand their absence.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it may have been U1 kind of as a buffer for the wastewater treatment facility. However, we're dealing with that differently by requiring waivers of separation. Mary Burton, when she owned the whole property, signed that waiver of separation already. So I have asked the attorney just to make sure, before it goes before council final approval, to make sure that the way the legal description is written, that it applies to the parcel, because there was a plat of survey that had been reported that had never been approved by the city. So we're trying to make sure, as a result, we want to make sure that it applies to both parcels before a building permit is issued.
There's a color building on this parcel.
Yeah, if you look at, there's a plat of survey in your
Yes.
packet that had previously divided it into 2 parcels, both of which, meet your zoning regulations. It's just that the house sort of kind of got into that U1, like I said, and I think
Sure.
if you look at some of the older rezonings, they did kind of leave out certain pieces because at that point in time they didn't have buffer requirements for a variety of things.
Sure.
That's my guess. Otherwise, I can't figure out why it would have been U1. U1 is what the treatment plant is. So, or I just follow the section line because it was simple at the time. That's possible too.
And the adjacent neighbors had no opposition to it. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, they had sufficient consent.
Sure.
Obviously, they're the primary adjacency because they own the house that it's the existing house. There are some issues with the building permit, but those will take care of
Sure.
part of the building permit process, just to make sure sidewalks go in, and whether or not the city can require a sidewalk on the existing house when they build the new house. And it kind of depends on it.
And
Unless you'd heard from Amy.
Well, I haven't. I've spent a lot of time with the property owners that own the existing house and the parcel they want to build on. And their intention as it stands now is that everything they do to the new house, they're going to do to the old house because it's cheaper to do it all at once while they've already got the construction crews out there. So, attaching to water, sewer, the sidewalks, all of that, just from a cost perspective, will make more sense for them to do it with the new permit than do the new permit, and 5 years from now the council says you have to put the sidewalk in and have to pay a whole nother crew and all of that stuff. So that's their intent as it stands now.
Yeah, well, and they're with where they are, the city could require the house to be connected to water and sewer because it's within proximity. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything on hydrant coverage if they fall within that, or if
There's actually a hydrant down farther, we determined. there isn't one down farther east on Broadway, almost in front of the lot that this is gonna be
It's
built
on,
on.
well, it's on the end of Deer Haven. I don't know if that's what I guess I haven't seen where
There's another one down farther on Broadway.
There is one on Broadway. I just
Really?
drove by today.
There is.
Yeah.
on a 2-inch line.
I don't know what line it's on, but I know there's
Okay,
one there.
Or at least that's, I understood that was just a service line to the treatment
Yeah.
plant. Anyway, we'll have to do some more research on that.
It'll be covered in the building
Yeah.
permit either way.
Sure. Okay. All right. Excellent.
Figured, right?
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion on that item.
I'll make a motion that we recommend the council approve of the rezoning of 506 East Broadway for a small portion of that, a triangular portion from 1 to R1, subject to engineers' comments and recommendation dated July 10, 2019.
Second.
Call roll, or I'm sorry, any discussion? Any discussion? Please call roll on that.
Bowersox,
Yes.
Sires,
Yes.
Hankins,
Yes.
Triplet. Yes. Olmsted.
Yes. Okay, item 7, concept plan for Southern Farms Development. Are you going to speak to that?
Yeah, Kelsey and I are going to, again, Jared Rockwell, MJR Developments, 1425 Northwest Putt Drive, sitting here. We got Kelsey Skellen here from Shive Hattery Engineering.
Yeah.
As promised last month when we ran and brought the project to you guys for rezoning recommendation to rezone this area to R1. We've been working with the city staff on concepts for the kind of lower 48 acres roughly of this project. So you got these packets, I believe, the concept. And basically just looking at trying to present it to you and talk through a few things about it and get some feedback. So I'll turn it over to Kelsey and talk to your high level.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe before we get into that, kind of the plan would be is to basically develop this in about 3 zones. So this first southern area along Hug Drive would be the first zone that would happen relatively quickly, and then this is kind of a second phase here, third phase here. So go ahead, Kelsey.
So kind of like Jared said, 3 phases. We're looking to do some lots right off Pug Drive. There's about 8 there for immediate development. And then as you're seeing, kind of this dashed line is working with the city on their comp plan for taking the future Whitetail Parkway and making that connection to the east. So we've talked with Kathleen and city representatives about what that kind of looks like and the path for that moving forward to make sure we're all in line, moving forward with the comp plan, everything's lined up for future development. That would be a future phase independent of phase 1 or phase 2, and even with phase 3 not needing access off that road, it would come off 72nd there. So looking for input again for these lots. We've already got sanitary going up to Whitetail. There's already water that went up to Whitetail, so we've got a lot of the utilities already there available for that development to do immediate kind of large estate lots with that timber in the valley there to the north. So, and then you've obviously got Big Creek to the south as well.
Are the dark areas ravines?
These areas here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be your steep grade, your ravine, and your timber. That would be part of the lot, but not all.
How deep is the ravine, that big one through there from, let's say, where the cul-de-sac is?
The cul-de-sac down to the bottom, you're about 20 feet. 20 feet.
How about it?
At the top here, you're only going to be 5 to 10. So we'll go down to that ravine. Across that grade, though, you're going to get about I want to say it's about a 10 to 20 foot drop going down that ravine.
Thanks.
Sure.
That is one of the challenges with the parcel is the sewer does come up along the east side of the Big Creek Valley development here. And it'll cross, where it crosses through the road, I believe is roughly 35 feet deep, and then it pretty much has to stay about that deep as it comes to cross to service the back just to get underneath the creek bed.
And that's all part of the planned area for the lift station as well.
Yep.
Planned for this area to be developed.
The park is a one parcel up above.
Correct.
Is that there because topography or something would dictate it there? I'm just wondering, the ravine seems like, and the trees might be a better spot for it. I just wasn't sure how that played out that way.
Okay. Yeah, well, first of all, I guess, I feel like there's a couple things we should weigh on because staff has met with them. We talked through a few issues, and before they made the changes that staff had recommended or asked them to consider, they wanted to come in front of you, but I feel we should share those with you. The park, when you specifically asked that, the comprehensive plan calls us for this area to be an active park. So we wanted to get some usable park space. When we had the meeting, Don Sander was there and Mike Schulte, and the city and the comp plan say we're not interested in taking all of the ravines and slopes because all that is maintenance. It doesn't get you any usable park ground. I did a quick parkland calculation, and the parkland that they were showing ballpark was around 1.6 acres, and just for the lots that they've got in Whitetail Ridge and the south part of this parcel, it's supposed to be about a 2.5 acre active park. So we're a little on the short side, and that's not considering the north part of Burburn Farm. So we're a little bit short of parkland, so I think we need to work on that a little bit. One of staff's probably bigger concerns is where they're showing the parkway. And maybe Jared, if you could show them where you're actually purchasing, because they're showing the parkway as if it would be part of this platting, but there would be a gap in it. So
Say that again.
you had indicated that you were purchasing kind of from the center line.
Well, so the original was based off, we assumed the park was going to come across here. And basically, we are looking at purchasing the south half of this.
Yeah, but
So we're
So
Whitetail,
I think I've shared that with Burn Ridge. We've got details to work through, but I think we basically
okay.
change the purchase.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that
Which would include
wherever
the parkway
that we
for
adjust
our
it to the south if
conversation.
we need to, so that when you're platting the property you purchased, that it does include the full Whitetail Parkway, because at least at this point in time, Bergen's indicated they don't have any intention of developing, and so I wanted to review this plat, not thinking that it might be 20 years or whatever before Whitetail Parkway is through, because obviously it's a different flavor. If Whitetail Parkway didn't go through, we had an even bigger concern about all the driveways that would be accessing Hug Drive, because that could be for a long period of time. Where if it's cut off and it's kind of a dead end, we have less of a concern, because those lots, I kind of did a quick layout. You would have the ability to put a street through and still have lots that are over 100 feet deep on both sides without all the driveways.
We do have that layout on the back too. We can read.
Yeah, I just,
So we
and
can
again,
talk through that. If we get through this, we can kind of talk through some of those.
Yeah. And I'm kind of speaking here for Don too, but we correct me if I'm.
you're right on target.
Yeah, we had talked about if it was approved with all those driveways, that we felt there should be an agreement on a timeline, Whitetail Parkway going through, which also then would include the reconstruction down there past the cul-de-sac, and it would cut off then Hug Drive as being the through street. So we kind of thought the two perhaps should be tied together with an agreement, since he's going to be developing these 600, 700 foot deep lots first. So, and then we kind of talked about the trail. We didn't really get far enough down the road that we really got into the trail discussion, but I think that kind of covers. Oh, and we did indicate that the city would be interested in vacating. There's the right of way is kind of oddly shaped, and we wouldn't have an 80-foot wide, more of a regular drive or right of way width.
I was
Through
curious
there.
where sidewalks were gonna go along there. They had to be on private property, but
Yeah.
vacating with.
And then we'll look at that once we get what we did with some of the others was they did get sidewalk easements so that they were on the property side of the ditch that's through there. So, we'll look at that a little closer, and but if there's not a reason for there to be, for that additional right of way, the city consider vacating that and just have that be on private property. It's just less property to maintain, assuming it can encompass the ditch in the right of way.
But yeah, essentially, that would also clean things up, both the sidewalk as well as fire hydrants and stuff that they're installed in the ditch basically along there. So having these setbacks really makes it a challenge to try and meet your 250-foot radius
Right, right.
house setback. So
Yeah, I guess I had a question about your thoughts regarding the rec trail that's talked about in the comprehensive plan and how that would end up going through here. The comp plan shows it going up near the bottom of the valley, essentially all the way up. And, I happen to be a rec trail advocate, but also I don't have any kids. And so the thought of having usable parkland is important to others. Rec trail is important to me, and I understand that we likely, in our community both. So I understand that, maybe the rec trail needs to go someplace other than up the valley, but yet crossing this property and then having a plan as to how it would eventually join up to something in the east. If it's going to change from the comp plan, at least needs to be documented, and a plan needs to be in place that we know, how your land would be developed, and then also what the concept is for to be, for the.
I think we'd be open to that portion either way. I mean, like Kathleen mentioned, our original plan, it showed for all of this area as a park with the trail going down through there, like the comp plan shows. But the concern from city staff was really the maintenance. Now you've got all those trees fall down.
Yeah, and for our residents who have kids, a 20-foot wide, half-mile long park isn't as useful as someplace that can have playground equipment. And even though I happen to be a trail advocate, I understand that everybody has their own different.
And keep in mind the parkway has the bike trail on it here.
So there will be a connection, it just won't necessarily be a connection there.
And also on the south side of the parkway, generally I don't like, bike trails along the edge of a road. However, this is a case where there aren't driveways along there. And so it would be relatively driveway free. And so this is a rare case where I think that'd be a good spot.
Yeah, we did, and we had looked at a little bit different alignment than that. We were trying to get it, we looked first of all at where you could cross Wolf Creek. It's off the sheet there, but where you could cross Wolf Creek and make the connection to North Third. And you're fairly limited in terms of where that crossing could be. So we wanted to, come across there and then try to give as much space to that existing home as we could. And then you can see there's a driveway there, but there's a homestead there. So we'd actually had it just a little bit, we had it kind of going more straight across and then with a curve on their side. Problem was that did create a challenge for developing lots that backed up to the ditch, which then meant you had to have more driveways on the parkway. So we felt this was a good compromise to have lots so that you didn't have the driveways on the parkway. If that's making sense.
Yeah.
So we pushed it up a little bit, farther north there to be able to create the cul-de-sac there instead of having lots backing up.
It did cause me a little concern though when you were saying that the parkway wasn't really required for phases 1, 2, or 3. Well, really the land could even be developed to the north without requiring the parkway, because the parkway is really always going to have lots backing to it. So getting back to Kathleen's point, we need to have a determination as when the parkway is going to go through. The parkway isn't just serving these lots; it's serving the community.
Right.
And I think that was kind of the point of, with the purchase, they would obviously have to include that area. It was what staff had brought to our attention, that we can create there to make sure that King Plan at which point makes sense. One other thing to note, and Kelsey, I don't remember what the exact number is, but this cul-de-sac is slightly longer than.
It is. It's a little bit longer than the 600 feet kind of maximum. That's the typical length. We've discussed that with city staff and talked about the fact that these are not heavily, you're not at your minimum lot size, that there's not as much lots off that driveway, or off this dead end cul-de-sac.
What that allows too is to try and keep the drives off of this. If we tried to shorten it up, you're just how do you service this area here, which that's partly why that park is there too, is because there's not really a good way to have a lot there or try and service off of anything else of the parkway itself.
Just a question on what's already been platted on the west. Do you own the land to the north of your, that
Yes.
area up in there?
Yep.
What is your thought there for the parkland dedication that would be required when that is developed? And could that be incorporated into a larger park here if indeed think that could be worked out?
I guess what do you mean by incorporated into, like?
Just the calculation where you,
Yeah,
where, you know,
if you're gonna
the
own
greater
X
number of lots,
acres,
the
were you
greater.
thinking two little parks, or were you thinking maybe this park would be bigger and then not have a park?
Originally, with the original plan, we show with this bigger park down here, we were gonna avoid that park up here, but I'd say we haven't finalized anything
Right.
on the,
Yeah, I mean, the comprehensive plan would call for one larger park, not two small parks. And again, from a maintenance standpoint, it's a lot easier and better to.
From a maintenance standpoint, and then also perhaps, in addition to, playground equipment and things like that, perhaps we could even have for a parking lot or something like that.
Right. And one thing the comprehensive plan specifically talked about in this area was the need for a larger park because there is no park other than the golf course for TCI. So that means Big Creek Valley, as an example, doesn't have a park, wasn't required to provide a park through an agreement that went through in 2002 with the development of the golf course. So we kind of said in terms of park service areas and everything, it becomes really important because it really is going to function as a park for Big Creek Valley as well. So
you can see a couple of these lots off the cul-de-sac are pretty deep. It may make sense just to bring that, make it larger park here, and or if the city did want to create a trail through there and have a 20-foot wide strip that was just literally a bike trail, I mean, I think we could do that too. Because I do think that would be a nice area for a trail, for a rec trail.
It would be. There's one in Urbandale, and a friend of mine is a property owner, and that backs into it, and it works out pretty good. But he has the creek on his side, so that makes the property line can't be on the bottom of the gully, right? Because the trail can't be in the bottom of the gully. So that means one property owner is going to get the gully, and then the trail will be up on the side a little bit.
And I assume with a rec trail, that's basically like a dirt trail, or it's a...
No, it's a paved trail.
It's paved trail.
Yeah.
The park be developed then in phase 3, or when does that come into play?
I would assume we would do it when this is, whenever we do that phase, but right now, probably the second phase.
The other question I had is, will there be any designation, or will that come with engineering for stormwater detention? Any outlots?
The plan would be to do, since these are so deep, the way we have them to do some detention in the backyards.
Okay.
And then obviously, future phases, we haven't figured that out yet, but
Yeah.
we'll provide third-party in there as well.
The existing farmstead, did you purchase, or are you going to be purchasing that?
They are not selling that to me. I think right now they're looking at selling that to the owners.
Okay. And the reason I am asking is unrelated to how it's going to develop, but more related to what would it take to get a sidewalk put across it as the property to the east develops.
And that works with the city. Oh, Don, do you have any ideas on that? Because obviously that's, I think we're
That's
sidewalk.
gonna be, a key link out there.
Yeah,
It is, the right of way.
Frontage.
Oh, I know.
right.
Right away there is actually owned by the
Right away,
city,
but-
so I think the city put sidewalk.
City could do it at their own expense. I don't know that there's a way we could force the property owner to do it.
Right. But it'd be relatively, if you look at this section, it's a relatively short distance across there
Yeah.
to connect the two compared to what footage of sidewalk that would be usable. So that's connected.
But if the city did it, would the city just scoop it? Or how does that work out?
Yes. Unless it's on, if it's truly in city property, as they're stating,
Most sidewalks are.
Yeah, most of them are.
But-
that way.
usually it's the budding property owner.
Yeah.
Right.
Depending on the size of the sidewalk, and I mean, again, it can go either way.
Okay.
But like the sidewalks all around town that are next, the abutting property owner outside of the trails. So the wider locations like Southside Drive's trail, the city does that.
This is just a
Is it just a
sidewalk.
regular sidewalk?
It's just a
Yeah,
five
so
foot.
they would.
That's what I wasn't sure of, so I wanted to be.
But, we heard last
Yeah.
meeting from some Wolf Creek residents kind of lamenting about not being connected to sidewalks. Well, as this area develops and more people get out there, I think having a connected sidewalk system is real important, really quick.
And did you say that you'd have an alternative versus having the 7 lots down here connecting onto Hub Drive?
So we did lay out kind of another concept with smaller lots. Yeah. Also show that.
So this is keeping everything up here for that phase 2 and 3 the same, and then shows a connection of a roadway here with lots. You have double frontage on Haga and this new roadway. So you're stricken doing narrow, smaller lots and shorter lots, obviously.
And how many lots are on the bottom and when you narrow them?
23, I think.
Interesting.
So 23 instead of 8.
You've got 2 on each, yeah.
What's the length of that street, and is there a potential for it to be a cul-de-sac?
You might be able to and get double frontage if you put some.
Oh, no, I just meant leaving the street where it is, but shutting one of the two ends off.
Ends off?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it on that end.
I think it would be you'd shorten it, I guess. Maybe there's an option for a concept that's kind of split the middle between the two, where you've got a cul-de-sac, parkway, and some bigger lots on the end or something like that.
I mean, would that be any advantage?
So in general, like this is a 85-foot wide lot concept, and it lays out there on there. Looks pretty good, I think. My concern with it would be is one, just the additional load on the road on Hub Drive until this goes in, and then the second concern would just be these lots that have basically a road on both sides, that have sidewalk on both sides, and obviously these lots all along here are basically just going to be looking at the front of these houses. So to me, don't seem like real desirable lots, especially when at the same time we've got Big Creek Valley going on down here with 85-foot lots that are all overlooking the golf course and over the trees. So I think the lots on the north side of this would be very desirable and marketable. But my concern would be is if we did this, could I actually sell those in the next 5 years or not? They may sit vacant for a long period of time, and it's not a very viable project.
I mean, it'd be similar to some of the lots, like for example on Lost Lakes, where you've got where the backyard faces Broadway, abuts Broadway.
Which the kind of, like I said again, less desirable lots. That's obviously the last part of Lost Lakes that's gone and it's not finished yet, right? So that would be my concern. And that was really, kind of the timing of this was, I did not approach Berger's, they approached me. And when they originally called me, I said, well, how about wait 3 years or 4 years until I can get some of the rest of the stuff I've got going, being cleaned up and finished up. But, if they sell, they want to move now. And so that was really what came this concept was, well, I've got Big Creek Valley lots. I've got 65 lots down there. They're the smaller lots. Can I augment that with some larger lots and have something to differentiate and make it all work at the same time? So that's where the concept came from. But I mean,
And what's your
5 years from now, I
what's your
would
lot
say
width on those? On just the 8 lots across there, how wide?
they're 150-foot wide lots, and they're roughly 1.5 acres to 2 acres, I think.
I mean, they're going to be nice. They're big lots.
So, and that's just something I don't think that there is very much of in Polk City or anywhere in the metro area. So I think there's high desirability for those right now.
But that's a lot of, because they would all come out on Hug Drive, right?
Correct.
So there'd be 8 drives up a Hug Drive. Yeah.
And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right across the street too.
Yep.
I like your second concept better. With your concerns, I was just west of Wayne this afternoon, and trying to think of the road. There's all sorts of lots like that back up. They have a really nice landscape buffer along there. Johnston too has places like that, and really kind of nice. It's a nice drive along there. It's green space because the lots are so deep, and I like the traffic flow of the second better. So I guess if I had to say yes to one and no to the other, that's what I think you still make it very desirable. Do you get more lots with the second?
But yeah, you get a lot more lots.
Yeah.
Like I said, as far as if it were 5 years down the road, I'd say the second one is probably on a whole project perspective. It's more profitable, more from that perspective. But I just am very concerned that, again, I think Polk City is a little bit different than an Ankeny or even some of Johnston, where we just have nicer lots. We've got a lot of tree lots here. Big Creek Valley, I think it's got some just phenomenal lots. It's going to be really hard to show one and the other, get people to go with this. Part just, I don't want to compete with myself that way either, so.
What type of price would you look at with lots?
So those would probably be in the $150,000 price range.
Okay. You think there's a demand for that out here?
I think I've got 4 people that would take them today that have them sold out.
That's not what the real estate agents are telling me. If you have people want to buy them, that's great. I got a lot that big, it's a little cheaper.
Maybe I should buy it.
You might know a realtor.
Any other comments? Not really looking for a motion today, correct, Kathleen? Just
Right, I think I'd like to summarize, I guess, our thoughts at some point. Just kind of get everything kind of documented. I guess between just amongst the commission, Doug kind of expressed, he likes the second one better than the first one. How do others feel?
I like less driveways onto Hud Drive, personally. And I also am a big advocate for a bigger park and a usable park. I would have been a naysayer park in Ravine. Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of a trail, if we put there, and then utilizing that park. But I know not the first time I've said this. Anytime we get development and, get beside lovely deep tree ravines, it's not usable. And to me, I'd rather have usable land or the money for the city.
Right.
So.
And I guess too, what we were hoping to do is kind of review concepts, get some feedback if there's changes that you like on both concepts really, and hopefully walk away with kind of, here's what we like changed on this concept, here's what changed on that concept versus no, we don't like that one, we like this one better. I mean, that was what we're looking for today, I guess, obviously. There's still a lot of detail to work out in both these concepts, but
I guess for me, it would kind of depend on the timing of when does HUD change. Does that change phase 3 or, when it isn't through street, then, I like the bigger lots myself. I think that kind of estate size lots are nice, but eventually that traffic isn't going to be what it is today out there.
right.
I just didn't know when that would happen, or maybe don't know at this point.
Yeah, and I think high level, our plan would be if we did this lot, we would still be trying to get started with construction yet late this year, but if not, first spring next year. And then basically the next year, kind of do this, probably up here, probably over here. So it's probably roughly 5 years out, I would guess, that kind of scenario. But it's hard without a crystal ball to know.
Yeah,
how long
no,
the
sure.
market stays strong. And
I think I personally like this a little better, just because of the size of the lots, but I could.
But I mean, is your heartburn on either one?
Yeah, I'd be fine with either one. I understand the concern about access here, but I think long-term it's gonna, there'd be more density, obviously, so there will be more traffic. It's not gonna be the through traffic though that is today. So I think long-term,
I agree too with the deep lots. I think it would look very nice, you know, driving through it, make it, like you said, estate. I like that word. And so, but I could go either way, but I think I do like this first concept.
kind of split.
And I like both of them, actually. I think they both have advantages and disadvantages. If we were to go with the extra street with the multiple lots, I would like to maybe see at least a concept that has one of the ends closed off, preferably maybe the Hub Drive entrance to just limit, access through there, particularly if Whitetail is delayed. That would, and if it's going to be the larger lot development under the first plan, I really think that needs to come to us with a date that Whitetail is going to be built. That if we're going to be putting that many more access points onto Hub, we need to have a firm date that's going to, that traffic's going to be built. If it's the extra street with the smaller lots, where there's fewer access points on Hub Drive, maybe Whitetail could be the later bill. At least that's my thought. Additionally, I think I'd really like you to give some thought as to what your long-term plan is for park acreage dedication for the area that you have control of, and what your plan is for that, and try to make that be a larger park area versus little tiny parcels here and there that are a lot less usable. Perhaps we can get a large park and a trail out of this, but if not, at least maybe a larger park area. And then also, if you don't run the trail down the gully, or down the, gully's the wrong word, down the valley, that means you are requesting us to change our comprehensive plan vision for the trail. And so under that circumstance, I would also request that you work with staff to move that concept of the change into the neighboring property that you don't have control of, to see how that will tie together, just so that we have a plan on file as to how these are all going to tie together.
And that'd be similar to what we did with Whitetail Parkway. I guess I could have some copies
So
of that
the-
just so you can see what we did do on that.
Certainly, currently our plan for the property to the east shows lines where trails are going to, and if you, so if you're going to request that go away, then we just need to change that. Would like to have you work with staff to make sure that we have that documented.
As far as trail, is the property owner responsible to maintain the trail as far as lakes, or is there no?
This is just that
The
investigation
city
we did just on
does
Whitetail
trails.
Parkway. We was
Okay.
like, do something similar for the trail.
It would be
Quite
city
frankly, like I said, we had bigger
property.
issues that we were looking at. I should clear, but
Well, I mean, potentially you could do it as an easement, but even if easement, because it's a trail, I think from a equipment standpoint, you're not going to have homeowners have a way to clear it because it's too wide.
Right.
I have never seen that before, and I love it. Yeah.
Good.
In fact, every time I look at that intersection, it just freaks me out.
they're again trying to reinforce the through connecting that it's not Hog Drive. One thing that just occurred to me is there may be a possibility for staging Whitetail Parkway. Like we go with this, where when this area is developed, that they would actually maybe run it over to the park, or at least a part of the park, so the park has some frontage, and make this connection, which would cut this off. So even though it's not all the way out here, there's not a lot of traffic that's coming from that direction. You would take at least the through movement, it would do kind of this sort of a thing, which still brings it in front, but again, it's at least the start of it.
It's the start of it, but it runs it down a street that has a lot of driveways.
Yep, yeah, I'm saying,
No, I understand. And on the concept you just handed out, you know, if we think we're going to need some land there to
Right.
make that happen, this might be a good time to
It
talk
would be,
about
yes.
that.
Yeah, we would do it right away.
That's
Part of
probably,
the plan.
that is probably, we talked about that with this concept, which obviously with the size of that lot, it's not a big deal to give up that area. With this concept, it starts to cut into that lot a little bit. Still probably room to work, but
Also, I want to say thank you for taking this approach, bringing in drafts, showing them to us, having this discussion. I think it really helps us in the long run, and I think it's going to help.
I appreciate the feedback and the time. So.
Any other feedback, comments? You're summarizing some of that, Rob.
That's what they're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's good.
And I don't know if you want to take any comments from other folks that are in there. Yeah, you be there.
Yeah, I just had 2 cents for the neighbor. For Eric Sharp, 12,500 West Hub Drive. So we're right there by lot 31, just to the east of it. From our vantage point, the larger lot concept for the access on Drive doesn't bother me as much. When you sort of look at the broader area of what's being developed with all of the Horton stuff, just north of Wolf Creek, you add that with Big Creek Valley, you've got 200 smaller lots going in, getting something with some diversity around what's really a beautiful area would seem to make a lot of sense to me. And particularly with that ultimately being a dead end. To me, that's just more attractive, but that's personal preference. From the developer side, I can see why you definitely want to go with the bigger lots as well, because you'll sell within a couple of weeks probably, given the demand. You could get hung up on the other one for a long time, getting everything else that's going on. And that's not good for the community as a whole, something like that. So, that'd be my 2 cents.
Do you have any issues with your driveway getting in and out, or?
We just have to be careful.
Okay. Every time I come by there, it's like I always wonder if
Yeah.
you guys have
To
issues.
try to keep the grass mowed down.
Okay.
And in my truck, I just have to turn to the right so I don't find spot. And we just tell the kids, every time they're in the car with us, be really, really careful.
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking forward to when it's a dead end because I think everything will slow down. But where today we can sort of race through there. In some respect, having more drives into Hub probably slows things down quite a bit.
I know it's been brought up a couple times that looking at changing the speed limit on Hub Drive to 25.
It still doesn't matter. No offense, I live in a residential and it's supposed to be 25. Nobody cares. And they race right onto the golf course.
There's kind of two extremes. You got people that are racing through there trying to see how fast they can make it through the curves, and then you got other people that are about 10 miles an hour checking out what's going on and looking at the deer and doing sightseeing. So
Yeah.
We swear by the time they get to our drive, get to 60 something. So,
Are you on this map?
no, we're just off it.
Just off it? Okay.
you're just down.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have a preference?
Minimize traffic on Northwest Drive.
Yeah.
Any way you can. We came more just to hear what's going on, not necessarily with Jared's stuff, but we're across from the Miller property. So whatever you could do to keep that from going out. Helpful. I don't know if you can do that, Kat.
Yeah, they are showing one entrance onto Hug Drive and then one
Right
on.
now. Yeah, but Wolf Creek, those two on the, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
Sheldon Drive. So right now you showed just one, just on.
Is there any way to eliminate one we have on Northwest Drive?
From a circulation point and emergency access, I don't think so, at least initially. And obviously, you have to talk to that developer as well. But
Sure.
distance, or
You think you have what you need?
I think so.
Okay, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Very good. Next item is staff report. Staff report tonight? Okay. All right. Item 9, commission report. From the commission. Okay. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
And this actually didn't make it work. Pushing it
Yeah, yeah.
back into my side.
Yeah.
This is what I was very
It's on there, I think.
Yeah, I appreciate him doing that too.
Yeah.